It is 4:05, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We are kind of short of a quorum to set the minutes, so we will wait until someone else comes in. I know we have two other people that's supposed to show up. So what we will do, we got a couple of guests here today. Those that are here, the commission, we'll go and do an introduction, and then our guests can introduce themselves first, second. And then that's something I want to share about. We have a new employee in human relations, so we'll handle that on the front end, and hopefully by the end we'll have all of our commission members will be, okay? Sorry.
John Tobias. I represent Chamber of Commerce.
Jeffrey Wilson with the Human Relations Department.
Camillus Dancer with the NAACP.
Eli Smith, Ward 1.
Cynthia Cobb.
Okay. I'm Arthur Jones, Human Relations Director, and also have on the office staff. And we have, yes.
Clint Williams. I'm on the Small Business Committee with the Chamber of Commerce.
Awesome, fantastic.
My name is Valerie Jones. I'm just a member of the public. I'm actually currently in school right now for getting my certification for elementary education. And part of one of the classes is about being a more active citizen, and part of it was attending a meeting. So.
Glad to have you. All right. And we have,
John Cunningham, citizen.
Chris Ballard for the Rocky Mountain Police Department.
okay. I will introduce this last gentleman here. Well, actually, Lisa Hunter, staff person also. But, so let's move on. Jerry Hopper is a new employee with the city, also a new member of the Human Relations team. He is currently the employee coordinator, the employee development coordinator for the city of Rocky Mountain. And so I let Jerry take a minute to introduce himself, kind of tell some of the things that he would be responsible for here in Human Relations at the city.
Good afternoon, Human Relations Commission, guests, and friends. I am Jerry Harper, as introduced. I been on board with the Human Relations Department here at the city for about 2.5 months, I believe. Previously employed at Edgecombe Community College as Director of Adult Education. So I'm now here as the Employee Development Coordinator. And my primary job responsibilities will be, I guess an overall statement I could put towards that position would be an advocate for all city employees. An advocate for all city employees, which involves training, providing learning opportunities for city employees, gauging the health of the employee relations here at City Hall and citywide. One of my first tasks that I've just started to embark upon is rolling out an employee relations and satisfaction survey to be completed towards the end of the year. So, and with the intent that city leadership wants to ensure that there's a high degree of mutual respect running through the workforce. So we'll be, that's something we'll definitely keep our sights on. There will be subsequent, I expect that there will be subsequent employee surveys to come. And so I expect to be right in the middle of those as well. Any questions about me and where I'm coming from and where I'm at here at the city? Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions, but I would just like to say I've been knowing Jerry for about 30-some years. When I started at Honeywell, he was there when I got there. He's a very fine fellow, and I don't think you could have picked a better person. So I look forward to your expertise, follow you through don't know whether you was working with OIC or what, but you were doing the GED. I video it every year, so I just want to thank you for all the good work you have done over the years.
And a special welcome to the student. I totally focus on students. What school are you at?
Barton, I'm an online student at Barton, a
Okay.
citizen of Rocky Mount.
Okay, well, good, and glad to see you're preparing yourself to teach. Awesome, good deal. Really like that. So thank you for having me for you, and I look forward to working with you all. Anything that I can do, just let me know.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right.
Okay. No other questions on that? We'll move on down the agenda. Item number 5, follow-up update from last meeting. A couple of things I want to report on. You know, back in May, I think May or June, April, something like that, we had a meeting with members of the Hispanic community, concerns were brought up. And then we had a follow-up meeting on about that issue and some things the commission had wanted, had assigned to the staff and wanted to accomplish. Took kind of a break during the summer, but I did have a conversation, or have had some conversation with a member of that community. And so pretty much what suggestion has came out of that I wanted to report to you. So we talked about the community meeting. The gentleman that was referred to from some attendees at that first meeting, his name was Carlos Lacuna. He's a resident here in Rocky Mount, works with a local law firm here in town, very active in the Hispanic community. And so we talked about those issues and goals that this commission wanted to accomplish. One being the community meeting or series of meetings. And we threw around some suggestions about location. Talked about there's a couple of churches that have a large population. There's a couple of communities that have a large Hispanic or Latino population. But what we decided, his recommendation was a neutral place for the first meeting. And then after that first meeting, we kind of gauge where we would possibly have a second. And so the suggested date that's been put out there for that first meeting will be Monday, October the 7th. And the location will be the Booker T Theater on East Thomas. And so I have checked and confirmed the Booker T Theater is available. And so and I told him after I reported to the commission, if you're okay with that, we will move forward with getting that information out. He's going to work with us on getting information out in the community. He mentioned a couple of things that he felt would be very key. We also talked about another thing that came from this meeting was that a lot of information in our office, even throughout the city, may not be translated in Spanish, or some of it that has been translated maybe not translated correctly, because there are various dialects of their language, just like other languages. So he offered to help us, anything that we have and we have translated, he's offered to take a look at it and make sure that it is correct.
Did you give a time for that October 2nd meeting?
6:30.
6:30.
October 7th.
7th?
7th, Monday, yeah, October 7th. Also, what came out of the conversation I've had with him, it was also mentioned that we should look for someone from the Hispanic community to serve on the commission if a seat comes available. And we did have, I think currently we do have one slot that is open. And so I've talked to him about that. He has an interest and wants to talk more about it. So he has, I have given his name to the city clerk's office. And so the background or the application processes that has already started. So he will submit that stuff to the clerk.
How do you spell his name?
Carlos, C-A-R-L-O-S. Last name is spelled L-I-C-O-N-A. Also, if you remember, there was some other individuals from the first meeting, one lady by the name of Maria, who works with the school system, Juan Perez, who's a local business owner here in the community. I've kept them in loop with this conversation also, because they're actually the one that kind of got this whole thing started. Any comments or questions regarding that?
And we presented to the council here. And we said, we did say something to the council.
It's in our minutes, it's been mentioned, but we haven't presented anything formal to them. Once this meeting, then the goal was to get it out to, I'll get it to the city manager, and then we'll get it to the council.
Did we ever, commissioners, I can't remember if we decided if it would be an at-large thing, or what did we say it would? Or did we say that it would be like NAACP and?
Well, in
Check.
the minutes, the request from the council was for staff to explore and ask the question, could the membership be expanded to include? So that conversation kind of went both ways. So that request, that question has not been formally asked now. And one of the reasons being that we know we have a vacant seat, so we can go ahead and fill that vacant seat if possible. And then we can still follow up on the request to expand it.
But under that situation, that means that we have, doesn't the Human Relations Commission, did we find that they had their own seat, that we could fill a seat? In that part of our?
The commission has an appointee. The commission's appointee is currently Ms. Wells.
Is Ms. Wells?
Ms.
Oh,
Wells,
okay.
correct, yeah. You see, the mayor has 3 appointees, so Ms. Moore, who just stepped down, was appointed by the mayor, so that would be one slot that this person could possibly fill.
Slots. It's over 2 slots. The mayor has 3,
The other 2 are filled.
all 2.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, for
Yes.
today, just an opinion, could it be possible that, asking this commission, if we would like to possibly meet with the council, maybe at a committee of the whole meeting or sometime, and kind of, discuss any concerns we may have? It just, something to throw out. Since there's some concerns, and they would have to be the one to address it, because I hate going back and forth, then we got to go back to them, come back next month, and all that kind of stuff. If anybody got any concerns like I have, I'm not speaking for everybody, it's just something to throw it out.
Okay. So you're saying that you would like to make a request?
If it's the consensus, I know we can't vote, but just something to think about. If it's the consensus of this commission, if we would like to sit down with the council and discuss this, any questions or concerns we have about the Human Relations Commission and their role, our role, all our role.
Okay. Make a note of that. Any other comments or suggestions? The next thing I wanted to share as a follow-up, you remember back in December 2018, several of the members of this commission helped with the Atlantic Avenue Corridor Study meeting. And that was a follow-up meeting to a previous meeting that some of the citizens really weren't satisfied with the way the meeting was conducted, but we were able to successfully have the second one in December that went off very well. And I think many of you who were able to help with that, because remember we used the same kind of the same format, but some of the same stuff we used as community conversation piece. So that is a proven format that works. Anyway, there was a report that was released from that first meeting. That report is final at the point where the city staff is ready to bring it back to the community, to share with the community and get some final feedback. Also, council will be a part of that meeting also. So that meeting is scheduled for September the 17th. I think that's next Tuesday, correct? You don't have a calendar? Okay. September 17th at the Booker T Theater at 6 o'clock. And so we will be there and helping with that meeting also, as well as other staff from the various departments that are involved in that. And I did want to reach out. We probably would need maybe 2 or 3 extra people to help take notes. And when I said take notes, similar to what we did the first time, it won't be that same round table discussion, but we felt that it was important that for the citizens that are a part of that process, reviewing that section of the report, they will have 5 stations. Any feedback that those citizens have, we want to make sure that information is captured. So they're asked that we have at least 5 note takers for that meeting. So I told them I would run this by the commission, because several of you did get the original meeting. So if you are available and would like to be a part of that, just let me know and I'll pass it on.
Question.
Yes, sir.
So they'll be the ones actually doing the question and everything. They just want someone to do the note taking.
Okay, exactly.
So I hope people understand that and not let it be like it was during the Confederate Monument meetings when some of the folks were driving the discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there are 5 key subjects involved in that project. So there will be a staff person, whatever department is involved in that, they will actually be there to talk about that part of the report and answer any questions. So what there is no takers, just want to make sure we capture it. And the same facilitator will be Willie Rafford, that facilitated the first meeting. He will facilitate this meeting also from Shaw. Any volunteers right off hand? Possibilities? All right, dances. Chairman, okay.
I volunteer Leonard Williams.
Oh, man, that's how doing human services, you're not in charge of your own time.
No,
Sir.
yeah, quorum call it.
Okay, guys, we still don't have a quorum, do we?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one now.
Oh, good.
So, and we have not approved the minutes.
Okay, so how do you want to do this? Want to just committee calls, vote on calls?
Yeah, let me finish this and then
Right,
we'll
yeah.
move
We'll
forward.
call it order, okay.
Okay. All right. 2 other things. Citywide, this kind of related to employee relations also. Last year, the city brought back the employee appreciation event, which went over real well. So the same thing is scheduled for this year, October 16th. So this is a event to show appreciation to all 900 plus city employees. Will be at the event center. So I want you to mark your calendar. If you happen to be free that day or in the area, you can always stop by. Last thing I want to mention, 2020 is when it's the year that the census will be doing their count again. So both counties have already started activities to make sure the information is out there. Myself and Ms. Hunter have attended meetings from both counties. So I'll let her kind of briefly kind of share with you what we're going to be looking at coming forward. We'll bring this, when we will bring additional information back to you at a level, we just kind of want to put it out there.
So I really have attended 3 meetings, one in Wilson County, Nash County, and Edgecombe County. And the city of Rocky Mount is trying to help with the planning part for the counties and giving our input on how we feel like some things should go. So some of the things with the 2020 census, because we're getting excited about it, it's going to begin in mid-March. They're going to start out sending information to your house, and if you do not respond by the mail, what they're mailing to you in the mail, they will start coming to your house, and they'll probably make 2 to 3 attempts. If not, if you don't do anything that way, they're going to start asking your neighbors information about you. So that's one of the things, yes. It'll take about 10 minutes or less to complete the questionnaire for the census and respond early so that the workers don't have to visit your home or come in person. The reason why it's important to do the census, 2020 census, $675 billion of federal money will be divided among the state, the counties, and the cities over the next 10 years. So we want to make sure that everyone is counted so that we can get some of that money. Your congressional, state, and local voting districts will be redrawn based on the census responses. North Carolina will gain a 14th seat at the U.S. House of Representatives, but only if everyone responds. You know, we have all these reservations about people who don't want to complete the census or have any involvement in it, but you can rest assured that it's safe. That's one thing they want to let people know, that it's safe to do this. They cannot track back any individual person or household. It's been kept confidential for over 75 years. So you won't hear about any of that. I know a lady in one of the sessions that she was speaking in, and she said even when she get 80-something, if she's still living, if anyone to come to her about anything about the census, she cannot respond on it. So rest assured that everything is confidential. And by law, your census responses cannot be used against you by the government agency, including law enforcement, or to determine any of your government benefits. So what we are doing, and you all will hear more and more about it as it continues, because I know Edgecombe County, they have a timeline of when they're going to start doing things in Edgecombe County and also Nash. So we're looking at, hoping you all will help us get information out also about the census. But we're going to pull our neighborhood groups in, because a lot of times in your community, a lot of people will rely on the neighborhood presidents because we have a good relationship with them. So we're going to send out stuff with the links that you can actually go to and do your fill out your information, or there's a number that you can go. We're trying to put together some sites where people can come and get someone to help them if they don't have access to the internet, or you know, whether they can read or write, or what, they just need help. We're trying to put some things in place to help people so that they can fill that out. I know they said they had a mobile unit that will go out to different places through the census. We're hoping we can get the library on track to help with this, and maybe possibly do something here at City Hall, but we're looking into other places to do it. And then they gave information about the neighborhoods that, you know, really don't participate in the census, and they're really trying to target those neighborhoods. So we're just trying to brainstorm and put things together in reference to trying to get everyone counted and accounted for the census. So once again, we'll be sending information out to you all. If you all can help us put the word out about the census, the 2020 census, we would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, Ms. Hunter has a question.
Ms. Hunter, the families in the public housing, are they included in the census?
Yes, wherever your address is at. Anything where you get mail at, public housing.
So all the children?
The children, yes, sir. Because on the application form, it's going to have for you to identify yourself, and then it's going to be for each person next. You're going to do a name and some other information. It'll ask if it's a child or other information about it. So a lot of people are asking the questions about people that's in assisted living places, or will their mail, if it comes there or if it goes to a child house, how would that be counted? But it's wherever you are living at. So children, public housing, yes, they will be counted also.
We have an inside track, our nonprofit in the public housing, South and East End, because we do a bag lunch every Saturday. So we have an open relationship with that community, so I want to get with you to see how we can coordinate to get that,
Yes, sir.
get those numbers.
Charles?
What about the shelters?
Good question. I think there will be someone at the shelter that's gonna count the people, because if they're living in the shelter, if they're getting mail at the shelter, there's gonna be someone with the shelter that's gonna count the people that are in the shelter. They are. We're not trying to leave anyone out.
So are you a member of that complete count committee?
No, I'm just serving for the
Just
city.
serving.
I can't say them, but.
What's the city's function? Do they have a function on the committee or do they have a member?
Well, Archie, actually, you're
You-
overseeing.
Yeah,
I mean,
Human Relations will be the department that will communicate with both counties.
Okay.
You know, I think we have the largest population in both counties, so it's very important that we make sure that our neighborhoods are. Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, before he starts,
Sorry.
that question I was trying to volunteer him, you wanna share that with him? If he wanna, I think, you didn't go back to it.
And rep to the council?
No, about the thing, that I volunteered to train, I mean to go
Oh.
to.
Can we call the meeting order first? Can we call the meeting order first and then go to that?
Go right, yeah.
Well, it was done before, it don't matter how you wanna do it.
Everything forward, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna officially call our meeting to order. Did we do a prayer?
No.
We did not do a prayer. We gotta do a prayer. Would anybody like to lead us? Brother Nehemiah, would you lead us in a short prayer, please?
Let us pray. Dear Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together. You said where two or three are gathered in your name, there you shall be also. We pray that you will be with us in this meeting as we discuss the matters that concern the Human Relations Commission. Let there be peace. Let there be unity. These and other blessings.
Amen.
Amen.
And at this time, I'll call for an approval of the, we've already, approval of the minutes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, I entertain a motion for the approval of the June minutes.
So moved.
Motion has been properly moved and second, that we accept the minutes from our previous meeting. All those in
Question.
favor, let it be known by
Question.
saying yes.
Question,
Okay. Question, go ahead.
should we not make sure the minutes reflect that we have a quorum first? I'm just asking.
Tomorrow for the current meeting.
Since you opened up the meeting, should we
Right.
reflect that we got a quorum before we start talking about the minutes? I'm just asking.
Right, I think, and you all help me out, the recorder who's recording this meeting will record that information in these minutes, is that right? So
That's not my question. I'm asking, does we need to make sure that it is reflected that we have a quorum first? It doesn't matter with me how you do it. I'm just asking
Okay,
a question.
Establish that, right? Establish that.
He didn't establish it because the meeting had been open. Do you not understand what I'm saying?
Okay, we can.
And I may not be correct. I'm I'm just asking the question.
So what we can just make sure, Ms. Hawkins, the total commission,
12.
okay, we have here,
We have 6 present.
okay.
Okay,
So we have a quorum.
we have a quorum.
That's what I want the minutes to reflect. Then we can go into the business.
Okay.
That's all I want.
Appreciate that, Mr. Danson. Okay, you've already done some follow-ups, is that correct?
The vote.
Yeah, that's correct. Are you ready for this question? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, ayes have it.
That would help.
Thank you. I guess we can move down to HRC community-related questions and concerns, is that correct?
Sir.
Okay. Floor is open for community-related questions or concerns. And that is a portion where people from the community can ask questions and that kind of thing too, right?
Yes, they have anything to share, but as far as any conversation, discussion that the commission has, that's just among the commission, and we can always entertain any questions after that.
Okay. And have we recognized our guests who are here? Yes, we have. Okay. All right.
You let the public comment speak.
No, that's not what we.
Just for here, the group.
Commissioners, something has come to my attention that is quite disturbing. That was quite disturbing to me when I read it. one part not surprising, and the other part should have been surprising either. I want to read this to you. It says, over 100 years ago, the exploitation of black people by other black people was so prevalent that even Booker T. Washington recognized it for what it was and called out those who would stoop so low as to use their peers as pawns in a struggle for power. With all that's transpired in these 100 years, one would think it would be impossible for certain black leaders to exploit their fellow black citizens for political gain. And yet it continues. No ethnic group on the planet has been as cruel and heartless to its own people as some in the black community. From the African slave traders who sold their fellow countrymen into lifelong bondage, a practice that continues to this day, to those who never miss an opportunity to put down and belittle those who strive for unity and brotherhood. The exploitation of black people by other black people is a modern day travesty, with phrases like Uncle Tom and safe black folk. So-called black leaders continue to be the biggest obstacle to unity among the races and to prosperity for the black race in general. The prosperity and successes achieved by so many in the black community has happened in spite of those who preach divisive rhetoric and hatred. In every professional and political realm, strong black men and women have risen to top of, and I'm reading, it's missing the article D, to top of their chosen profession, not because they were Uncle Toms or safe black folk, but because they chose to ignore such foolish talk and blaze their own trail and overcome the obstacles they may have encountered along the way. We need to teach our young people to be strong and independent, yes, but we also need to teach them that false leaders have always been lurking around every bend and they should be avoided like the plague. Here's Booker T. Washington's message from 108 years ago. If he could recognize this problem more than a century ago, why is it so hard for so many to recognize it today? Quote, there is a class of black people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of black race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the black race to lose its grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs, end quote, Booker T. Washington. That was posted by Mr. Randy Aycock. I wasn't surprised. I would expect that from him. Now let's play a game of guess who. Power and control. This is in response to that. First of all, it's good to know that I've been in this black skin almost 50 years. And Mr. Aycock is more of an expert on black folk than I am. And I was born black. But like I said, it's something I expected. But guess who? Power and control delegated to those who keep them in poverty, servitude, and victimization. Those leaders have constantly been exposed for subjugating their followers to victimhood for over 100 years, and yet history continues to repeat itself. The amazing part is the relative success leaders have in projecting the consequences of their action onto others, demonizing an entire race and political party in the process. Now that is agreeing with what Mr. Aycock had to say. So when we were small, let's play a game of guess who. Guess who posted that? Now, let me be clear here that that social media is not the public square. Anytime that you can block people and you can keep people off of your page and things like that, then it's no longer the public square. Okay? Public square is when we can come here and we can make public comment at the city council meeting. And I hope that this all gets back to Mr. Aycock. And guess who? I need commissioners to guess who. I'll pass it around so you can see it, but I want you to guess who.
Guess who wrote that?
Guess who wrote the response? No, you're not surprised.
I guess.
Who was Randy, what was his name?
Randy Aycock.
Who was Randy Aycock?
Right, who is he?
Never heard
I
of that.
have no idea. who
Right,
he is.
well, I know who he is, but I'm saying, I mean, facetious, really, who is he?
I don't know.
Not a citizen of Rocky Mountain, anyway.
Okay. Okay. Still playing guess who.
Now, as we have on our commission, all of our commissioners here are appointed by either the mayor, we have other commissioners who are, I guess, I don't know if they're ad hoc, I don't know what you call them. But then we also have those that are by the mayor. And then we have an extra commissioner that's here because they are a member of the state commission. So we don't have to play guess who anymore. Steve Stevenson. And like I said, I pray that it gets back to him what I said and that he comes to me to say something, because I can't chew my cabbage twice. What I say about you, I can say to you. This runs adverse to what we're trying to do. Mr. Randy Aycock, like I said, it didn't surprise me that he said this. He was a proponent for the Confederate monument. So this doesn't surprise me what he said. Even though it's out of context, the statement or the quote that he put in about Booker T had to do with an ongoing argument between Booker T and W.E.B.
And that's extremely opinionated too.
And it's extremely opinionated.
Extremely opinionated.
Saying what black leaders, no ethnic group on the planet has been as cruel and heartless to its own people as some in the black community. Say what now? Black folk didn't create abject slavery, nor any of the things that came after it. The poverty that came along with it. The miseducation that came along with it. We didn't do any of that. We were subjugated to it.
And so not only is it opinionated, it's pretty inaccurate.
It's inaccurate.
Pretty inaccurate.
Armchair historian.
Let me ask you a question, brother.
Saying nothing.
Well, okay, Steve, this fellow posted his where now?
This is on Facebook.
On Facebook. Where did Stevenson post his?
On Facebook,
On
as a
Facebook.
response to that.
Okay, so we're talking about a Facebook conversation.
A Facebook conversation that, of course, got out. Because you got people that are in here that are on Facebook. It got out. It's all over the place now.
Yeah, Facebook is creating a lot of problems, period.
It's creating a lot of problems in
And a
this
lot of
city.
good, and a lot of good, but it's creating a lot of problems too, though.
And so, let me get to it. I move. I'm putting a motion on the table. I move that Mr. Stevenson not be allowed to be a voting member of our board, and that yes, we cannot bar him from attending, but he should no longer be a member of our commission as a voting member. Motion's on the table. Motion's been made and properly second.
No, it can't be. It can't be. Because I'm the one who called the motion.
Okay.
Okay. Let me back up and clarify whether or not we have the authority to do what he just said.
Motion's on the table.
No,
Whether
motion
we-
not on the table. Motion
I
not
made a
on-
motion.
I didn't call it though.
Okay.
The chair calls the motion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we have the authority to do that?
The appointments are made by the council.
Okay.
Any changes that will be, have to also be made by council. The commission can make a recommendation, but the final say so
Who appointed him?
comes from council.
Where's his appointment?
He is appointed by a representative of the council.
Who?
I can check and see, I can't remember.
Let's find out.
Okay, we can find out.
And can we find that out before we leave here?
It's Lois Walker.
Is it Lois Watkins that appointed him? Have mercy.
That's what I was told too.
Brother Nehemiah, and just for the sake of doing this in order. okay,
Yes, sir.
If the council person is the one who can actually take that action,
Mm-hmm.
then we as a commission, we can recommend, if we vote to recommend, we can do that. But I don't think we can actually take the action ourselves. That's what I was driving at.
Right. Should but do not our powers mirror there? And we can't exceed theirs, but we can mirror theirs, is that right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And also, before we take that step, I'm not taking sides on anything,
I know.
but it would probably be also, this is a suggestion, the best interest is that if that party is willing to meet with some individuals from this commission that have a concern, and that way you get a chance to hear both sides. There may be some other stuff that's not being put out, that needs to be discussed. And after that meeting, you want to come back. That's a suggestion.
I'm a believer, when people tell you who they are, believe them.
Go ahead, Camilla.
I think, and I don't care how it goes, but I think you took it to another level. I think when you make a motion, get a second, you carry it out, and that just only speaks to this council. And if it needs to go somewhere else, it goes somewhere else. But we don't need to debate on who's gonna do afterwards. So my concern is either you put it before a motion, carry it out, or you just say you're not. But I'm not gonna sit here and debate on what the council gonna do. Also, we are talking about the facts as presented. Now, he can come back and say whatever he wanna say. It will not change the facts as presented. I don't care. I've been a part of the conversation. I don't have anything else to say about it right now unless it came forward and I needed to. But as it stands right now, that was the point of discussion right there. So all the other afterwards, either I go back to either carry the motion through or say you're not going to accept the motion.
I'm not gonna carry the motion.
Well, that's all we need to know.
Right, purely because now I think all of that is pretty egregious stuff. I want to make sure that I go on record saying that all those comments and the response are very egregious. I tend to agree with you also to think that a person of that mindset on this commission is very counterproductive. I concur with that. It's just that, and this is in my judgment, this is in my personal judgment, I believe I'm following, hold on a second.
We don't need to get into all of that though. You don't say what you said. We don't need to go into it further.
Right, I just wanted to clear.
We don't need to go into further though.
No, yes, I do. I need to finish. I'm just saying this because of how I believe rules of order are. The only reason I'm doing it is because I don't think it is an action that we can take. Therefore, I'm not going to bring it to a vote because I don't think that is in order.
You're repeating yourself. Time, we need to move on. You
No,
repeat yourself.
okay, you clarified yourself. You got to let me clarify myself.
It's
too.
clear.
So I've done that, but I do want to come back to Nehemiah and ask, okay, is there a different motion that you would like to present in terms of what happened there? Is there another, because it's out, do you have clarity on kind of how you need to approach it in terms of having some action taken?
Well, the reason why I took the action of making the motion is because I looked at the overall city council. The city council has the power to remove a council person.
That's, the city council has
Yes, they
power
can.
to move a council person?
They can
Okay,
vote to
that's-
remove.
Okay.
They can
all
vote
right,
to remove.
All right, that's a level that I'm not familiar with.
Right. So,
Okay,
taking that into consideration, that being set as a precedent,
okay.
then I'm saying that us being appointed by them, we should have on our committees the right to remove those who are, or let's say make a recommendation that they be removed from our committee. So if I am to amend that, then I will amend it to say that we make the recommendation that he be removed from our committee. That is the only amendment to what I said that I will make.
Okay.
Though I believe he should be removed.
I would actually entertain that motion. If you want to just repeat it again for the record, or can you paraphrase it by what he just
No,
said?
it's on recording.
Okay, all right. So we have that, a motion, we recommend this action, do we have a second?
For clarity, I want to hear
Okay.
it, because I don't know what y'all just said.
Okay, you want to hear it again?
Yes, I want for clarity.
Okay. Mr. Nehemiah, would you?
I want to make sure that I make the motion correctly.
I got you.
And just going through my head with my Robert's rules, I would first have a point of order that object to the chair's decision. However, I will make the motion that we recommend to the council that Mr. Stevenson be removed as a voting member of our commission.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a proper second? A motion's been made and properly second that we
Recommend to the council.
recommend to the council that Mr. Stevenson be removed from the commission. You ready for the question?
As a voting member, right?
As a voting member,
As a
yes.
voting member, okay.
As a voting member
Yeah.
of the commission.
I misread that. As a voting member, okay. Are you ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
You might need to show a hand.
Show of hands.
Yeah, let's do a show of hands. One, two, three, four, five, six. I see 6 hands. 1, 2, 3.
You're
4,
correct.
That's
Six.
5.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 7? Yeah. Okay. All right. The ayes have it. So that is in the records now. We will certainly make that recommendation. I want to extend this also, Nehemiah, to you. If I am actually incorrect with the way I did this, by all means, let me know.
Yes, sir.
I will definitely retract the method that I used here.
Yes, sir.
Plus, I would like to learn from it myself.
Yes, sir.
Because I haven't dealt with a situation where a commission of this sort moved to take an action that they might not have the authority to take.
Correct.
So it would be a learning experience for me as well. Okay.
And I say that because, first of all, that was disturbing to me.
Okay. It
Very
should be.
disturbing. You had so many experts on us, and I was like, oh yeah. But also, because the conversation in our city, in Rocky Mount, and I would have to say that a lot of it has to do with politics. Right now, we're in the political season.
Absolutely.
Has become toxic.
Yes, it has.
It has become toxic. And in looking at what we do as a Human Relations Commission, it is our goal to dispel that toxicity, to remove it, to get it out of the way.
Absolutely.
Because it can be dangerous. It could get very dangerous. Especially, like I said, even though it's not the public square, on social media, some of the things that are said are really on the verge of, and some of it's not even on the verge of being very threatening. We have an issue here in Rocky Mountain. I'm just tired, Jeff. Just tired of it. That nobody wants to address it.
Nobody wants
Nobody wants
to talk about it.
to talk about it. We'll talk about the Confederate monuments, but we won't talk about the real issue. We'll talk about the toxicity in the political environment, but we won't talk about the real issue. The real issue at the core of every issue that we have in the city of Rocky Mount is race. And we have yet to sufficiently deal with it. We want to pussyfoot around it. We want to kumbaya around it. We want to say, oh no, it's not a problem. We need to leave that in the past. Well, hell, how can you leave it in the past if you don't address it right now in the future? And it's right here.
I agree.
Our conversations, yes. What are we doing? It's one thing to come up here and meet every month, but we need to meet with a purpose. We need to have a purpose. And that purpose is we need to deal with that issue, because that is the elephant in the middle of the room that everybody is walking around whispering when they get close to it, but it's still destroying the very fabric of our community. Nothing wrong. Let's go ahead and get it out there. Let's go ahead and talk about it. How can you get well if you refuse to address the dis-ease? That's all this is dis-ease.
You have to cut a boil before you can clean it.
Before you can clean it, come on.
You got to cut it open. But Brother Nehemiah, and I want to make sure anybody else has any concerns that y'all make sure you do that. One of the questions I have always had about human relations in North Carolina anyway is exactly what is its mission. We know that they deal with a lot of housing issues. They deal with a lot of unfairness in things like in the marketplace. But North Carolina, historically, seems to have stopped short in human relations of dealing with personal issues, like race. And I've always thought, I'm always an advocate for open discussion about race. You see, I don't ever think integration was completed. I don't think it was. I don't think civil rights was completed. And even after it was done, it won't process. It won't process, and people look back and say, really, what did we get out of it? How is it benefiting us now? And what do we need to be thinking about as we go forward? Those are conversations I don't think should ever stop. And I believe certain things need to be confronted, because if you don't confront some things, it will go on and on with a life of its own. Yes, sir.
Again, got about 5 minutes, but I want to bring us back home.
Okay.
I understand all y'all saying, that's a topic for another day. But this commission, now we addressed an issue that concerned one of the members. So we got to keep it to that and not try to deal with what somebody else could do with it on the outside. But when you said people don't know about the Human Relations Commission, you didn't mention, people don't understand that if you have a problem on your job in the city, that they can bring it here. People don't know that. So the people need to be educated on exactly the role of the Rocky Mountain Human Relations. I know what the one is in Edgecombe County. They just hold a Martin Luther King breakfast and little stuff like that. They does nothing else.
That's right.
That's why I come, I don't go to it, and that's why I come, I'm not involved in it. But Rocky Mountain does the work. But people need to know what they do. They help people with their job situations and stuff. People don't know that though. But I've been educating them. You know, we come to this meeting, I'm learning, and I educate people. So that's what we need to do, educate people on what the role of the Rocky Mountain Human Relations Commission is. Because people think it's limited to housing and whatever else you say, it's not limited to that.
Right. Well, now it's just,
I understand, I understand.
Now
I understand.
Kind of like North Carolina altogether. But let me see if we have any other concerns, because you're right, Mr. Dancy, we only got about 5 more minutes of our meeting. See if anybody has any more concerns or questions. If not, do we either take up agenda items now, or?
Yeah, and I just want to make, I think, it sounds like the consensus of the recent comments is that the commission would like to move forward in initiating some conversation based on race in the same format that we did with this Confederate statute.
I agree. I thought we were gonna.
We already, we talked about that in another meeting.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna do that anyway.
Just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
I got the video, I'll put it back.
Yeah.
All right.
We need to get to it though.
Yeah.
I think we need to get to it. Sure do. We don't need to wait till next year to do it. We need to get to it.
And as Chairman, Co-Chairman mentioned, the last agenda item would be any suggestions that you all have for the upcoming meeting or the next meeting. If you have them now, you can share them. Not, you can shoot it to me or my staff. We want to make sure that you all have input, as we always do, for the upcoming meeting and agenda.
What's the date of that October meeting? What's the date of the October meeting?
Second Wednesday, the 9th.
The 9th.
Day after the election.
Day after the election.
We can.
I'm recommending that we actually review our mission again. Put it on the agenda, actually review what is our mission. And then maybe do start doing some public education committees on, okay, here's what this commission does. And then pick that mantle up and move forward with it. Okay, anything else?
Was there any more discussion about the banquet, about the human relations banquet that I missed that?
That's still incomplete. Nobody discussed this meeting. I know normally at the, in our meetings, if some visitors have some comments, we normally retain those to the end of the meeting after we have concluded our discussion. So if the commission itself has no other comments, if you will allow, if someone from the public, from the visitor have any comments, Ms. Scott?
Yeah, Tuesday, September the 17th. Alton, street discussion, you need no takers.
No takers, yes.
Yeah, try to make it. That's 6 at Booker T. Yeah.
And Lynn, that's what.
That's what I was talking about.
She said,
That I volunteered you for.
you said 17.
You weren't here.
17.
17.
The Atlantic Avenue Corridor Study that we part of December, the following, we presented the community on the 17th.
The 19th.
Okay.
19th.
What
I
time?
think.
6 o'clock.
I think on the 19th, they have the candidates forum
Correct.
at Edgecombe Community College. I think that includes all the candidates who are running for office in the city.
Is that correct, Mr. Bronson? Okay, I need to put that on my calendar.
Okay, then if we don't have anything
What
else
campus?
to
What
explain,
campus?
Edgecombe Community, this campus.
If they got in the car.
you all have.
Over here,
Do
over
we
here.
have any hands raised?
Do you all want to allow 5 more minutes for?
Yes, I do.
So we
I'm
start
not
with-
gonna-
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes, good evening. My name is Johnny Cunningham, and the coincidence that Mr. Nehemiah would bring up Steve Stevenson. Me as a citizen and him as a member of this board, he has personally attacked me on several fronts. He's also, I got several, numerous of emails, text messages from him, using very, very racist comments, names, even toward the administration of City of Rocky Mount. Got one email that he's claiming attacks on all fronts. I want to read one in particular, because this has gotten seriously out of hand. Conduct of one of your members of the Human Relations Commission. Not even to mention that he's also a member of the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's
No,
not.
it's not. No, it's not.
Good.
He used to be.
Let me just share this right quickly. I'm an advocate for
Let me ask a question, let me ask other commission members now. Excuse me, sir, but I want to make sure that we are inside of a set of ethics that we kind of abide by. The discussion of a person that is, for instance, what Mr. Nehemiah presented here, a lot of that stuff is opinionated, but it's nasty nonetheless. Okay, and because of that, we're believing that we might remove this member because of that. If we accept a report from another person who has an opinion on this person, is it proper to air that in a meeting like this?
So, excuse me, sir, this is not an opinion, these are facts from him, his mouth himself, saying these things to me.
They're facts to you, but they're opinions to us.
Speak for yourself now. If I read it.
Okay, all right. My question though, sir.
My concern is, I'm a citizen.
Okay, hold on just a second, hold on just a second. I just want to know, is this report proper in this meeting? Because it's clearly statements about somebody's character, it's about something that happened to you.
No, these are his exact words. These are words that he got behind his keyboard and typed out and sent to me directly.
Okay.
Now, I'm here as
assuming
a
that it's
citizen
okay
being
then for
attacked
us to-
by one of your board members.
Okay.
So one question is any of this stuff being handled in the legal?
He's I have text messages where he have advised Mr. Clint Williams, part of his group. He himself, I have text messages from him. He's declared that I have 13 enemies within that Love Rocky Mount core group. Mr. Steve Stevenson is their legal advisor. He advises them. He has advised them to go out and take fictitious restraint orders against me, gag orders, to silence me because I'm an advocate for the poor. I'm an advocate for calling out racism.
Okay, here, let's stop right there because this is beginning to be attack in nature. And even though what you're saying, you may have proof of it, but to level it here as though it has been substantiated as facts, I do not believe it's proper.
Tell
Okay.
what we can do.
I move that we allow Mr. Cunningham to put it in a complaint format.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, okay.
Right.
To the
To the
commission.
commission.
Okay.
And that the commission take the opportunity to look it over and to investigate. That's the
I
motion.
don't think that needs a motion. I think if that is a suggestion that can be.
Right, I don't need no motion for
I
that.
withdraw the
That's what
motion.
we should do.
So, Mr. Cunningham, we have acknowledged the fact that you have a concern and complaint.
Okay.
If you would get that information to the staff, and then we will make sure it's relayed to the commission.
Do it before I leave today?
Any,
Yes, sir.
any legal procedures that may be,
We don't want part.
we don't want to be a part of that, the courts will have to settle that.
My only concern is he's a member of this board and he's
Take it.
Okay.
because of your mission and your statement and the things that you represent.
And sir, your grievance is duly recognized.
Thank you,
You
sir.
recognize.
And for the record, he's not in any legality with
Okay.
Steve Stevenson, maybe with somebody else. So
Okay.
for the record, keep that clear. He's
Okay.
not in no legal
No.
affair
no,
with
no
Steve
legal
Stevenson.
affairs, no.
Gotcha.
So I want nobody leave here and think he is.
Absolutely. Did anybody else have any comments? I know this lady raised her hand. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I wanted to know more of what you all do now. I mean, I was actually on the website, City of Rocky Mount website, and looking at just all the meetings that the public can attend. And something I liked about this, there was a little write-up about how you all's mission is to bring harmony, respect, and understanding to people. And I wanted to know what were some ways that you bring that to people other than like race? I know we were talking a lot about race today, and what you had mentioned, you all specifically help people with issues that they have on their job, something that I didn't know. So that's something I learned today. But what other ways do you bring about the understanding and harmony of people? Like what other issues do you all discuss in your meetings?
Okay. Well, and that relates to the staff. And one thing that we are involved in wholeheartedly is that any of those issues that the communities or residents may have to be involved in, we can mediate and help to resolve those issues. Community-related, neighborhood-related, neighbors, employment, consumer, jobs, any situation that you feel that are a resident of the city of Rocky Mount or someone who's employed or has transacted business in the city of Rocky Mount, they feel that they have been treated unfairly and would like someone to mediate or work them through the situation. And that's really how we resolve several of those.
Sounds like y'all are problem solvers.
But I think you need to understand though, not this board, the staff does that. We don't know about
Yeah,
people's
that's right.
situations. Then that's what the human relations staff does now.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
get involved in the employment piece. That's personnel.
Okay.
So I want to make sure you're clear on that.
Okay.
What I do is I refer someone, they'll contact them, and I don't hear no more about it unless the people share it with me. But that's not what this board do.
All right.
Also, can we, I don't know,
Did she,
The-
Mr. Nehemiah, I believe this lady, did she have a question? I
Oh,
think
I'm
she
sorry.
had a question, so, go ahead. Who had a question?
I was in my own employment housing.
I'm sorry, sir.
if, I know that, that other places are doing it. I don't know if everybody got a chance to see the new documentary that, the city just put out about 1978, sanitation boycott.
I haven't seen it.
Or strike, I'm
Advertising,
sorry.
Yeah.
But if the Human Relations Commission, if we could find some time, or find an opportunity to show that,
Next week.
yeah.
That would be good.
And in the meantime, you can go to my website and look at it.
Right.
To my YouTube page.
All right. Okay, well then, if we don't have anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, so, thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all so much for coming.